listening to Give God 90, where we're not afraid of the tough biblical questions, because we will dig through the language, the culture, and the history to find the truth revealed in the words of our Creator.
I wanna see the light.
Well, hello, everyone. Thank you for letting us share part of your day. My name is Jerry Mitchell. Sitting next to me, of course, is Myra on a Thursday night, gallantly trying to keep me on track.
Hello, everyone. It's nice to be back with everyone tonight.
And my unsupervised days are not as unsupervised as they were for a couple of weeks, but that's okay. We got a lot to cover today, so we're going to dive right in. If you happen to have a absolutely free Spreaker account, you can join the live chat. It's out there for you to do that. You can also leave us a message. There's so many platforms now that we're on, I'm not really sure I can keep track of them. So wherever you're listening from, welcome. We appreciate each and every one of you. A lot of new people out there all the time. Glad you're with us. Hopefully you find this informative, maybe entertaining at times, but mostly we want it to be a blessing for you.
Yes.
To catch you up on something we talked about a little bit, the Catholic Church is pushing back against the Pope. We always like to see that right now. And I'm not going to take any credit for this, but we were one of the ones out there suggesting strongly that the members of the Catholic Church do this. It was interesting that some of the people said that the sign-up in Europe a couple of weeks ago was a heresy from the Pope. The word heresy being thrown around in his direction now. Does my heart good, actually. It really does. So there's progress being made in that arena. And as much as I don't really like to get into politics, sometimes we have to, just because, well, let's face it, the reality is Satan, the adversary, whatever name you want to give him, is using he's using the political arena to promote his agenda, right? We all know that. So sometimes we have to address some politics. Recently, a protest in Italy at the U.S. Embassy there, the Italians have realized that the policies of the Biden White House are harming them. So it's not just Americans. Just to let you know, that's going on around the world. And I have to say this. There for a little while, I was beginning to wonder if the senile Joe Biden was being portrayed in a kind of like Reagan used to do. You know, people said, people think you're a little off, Mr. President. He said, that's okay, let them think that way. It gives me an edge. And I had to question myself, is the current president of the United States doing the same thing, playing the same game? And I don't think he is. We don't know anyone directly working in the White House anymore. But we know people who have access to them. People who are directly connected with them. And it's not a game that he's playing. He's losing it. Just putting that out there. He's losing it. So the question in the minds of those who are inquiring people is, who's actually running the United States right now? Who's in charge? Does anybody really know? It might surprise you, by the way. It might surprise me. People around the world for decades have depended on the United States, their economic stability, for their overall stability. They've depended on the United States as an investment vehicle. And other than the financial, your people have depended on the United States as a humanitarian stable nation. We're not that way anymore. It's amazing to me what's going on and how quickly it's happening. But we have to remember something from Daniel chapter 2, verse 21. Speaking of the Almighty, He changes the times and seasons, He removes the kings, and He establishes them. He gives wisdom to the wise and acknowledges the discerning. And that's what leads me into what I really want to talk about tonight. Are you one of those wise people who has discernment? Are you able to read the verses in the Bible and apply them to your life? And that's kind of what we're here to try to help you do, right? So, Myra's going to start in Job chapter 31, verses 24 through 27.
I have not put my trust in gold. I have not said to pure gold, you are my safety. I have not celebrated my great wealth. I have not celebrated that my hands had gained riches. I have not thought about worshiping the sun in its brightness. I have not admired the moon moving in glory, so that my heart is pulled away from God. My hand has never offered the sun and moon a kiss of worship.
Oh, there's so many places I could go with that, but I'm going to concentrate on the wealth aspect for now. Okay, I'm going to be good. Job doesn't say that great wealth is that he has not acquired great wealth. He was a very, very wealthy person. As we all know, he was an important man in the East. It reads, he didn't celebrate his wealth. He didn't show himself off. He used his wealth as a tool. The rest of that really indicates that he trusted his Creator more than he trusted the gold that he had. He had no need to live extravagantly. He says it would have been a sin, right? So that my heart was not pulled away from God. My hand has never offered the sun or the moon a kiss. I have not celebrated my great wealth. I have not celebrated that my hands have gained riches. It would have been a sin for him to do so. And he knew that. He was aware of that. Which is, I think, quite interesting. Job invested in other things, right? Job invested in life. He trusted his Creator. He had a family, a very distinguished family. But he trusted his Creator, and he did not trust any other. We're going to look at Psalm 62 now, verses 10 through 12.
Place no trust in exhortation or false hope in stolen goods.
That's extortion.
Oh, sorry, extortion. Or false hope in stolen goods. If your riches increase, do not set your heart upon them. God has spoken once, I have heard this twice, that power belongs to God, and loving devotion to you, O Lord, for you will repay each man according to his deeds.
Ooh. Now we're starting to get to see some things. David warns us, don't trust in ill-gotten financial gain. Right? Not in stolen goods, not in extortion. Don't get your heart wrapped around them. Don't look for things that you shouldn't be looking for. Right? If you do happen to get rich, don't worship your money. It's money. It's okay. It's only money. You should not be trusting your money to get you through whatever situation you're in. If you are, let's put it this way. If you get really, 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 really sick, it doesn't matter how much money you have. If you spend that money on a really poor doctor, you're going to stay sick, right? He's not going to cure you. But if you don't have any money and you trust the Almighty, chances are, if you get sick, there is a reason that you need to go do something about that, right? He's going to lead you to the proper person to get you better. Eventually, because some people are just hard-headed and won't make the phone call. I was expecting a look out of that, but I didn't get one. Well, there it is. Earlier in Psalm 62, David writes, that one, yes.
I wait patiently for God. Only He can save me. He is my rock who saves me. He protects me like a strong-walled city. I will not be defeated.
See? When you need to go somewhere, when there is a message for you to deliver, when you have something to do and you don't want to do it, He will nudge you sometimes in the right direction. Some people are thinking about Jonah. Yeah, sometimes when you become obstinate, He will show you who can be more stubborn. Okay? Just saying. But throughout the Bible, we read that the only thing in all of creation that we should trust is our Creator. But, and there's usually a but, right? Do we have the trust that Job had? Really? Seriously, do we? Do we have the trust today that even David might have had? Some may. I can think of one or two who might. Do we have the trust that people had a couple of thousand years ago? Or are we more caught up in our modern day conveniences? Are we more caught up in, oh, if I get sick, I can just go to the doctor. Oh, if I get in trouble, I just go to a lawyer. Oh, if I do this, I can just go do that. When the first line of defense is living the way we're designed to live so you don't wind up in those situations to start with. Right? There's a concept in the United States, and they're talking about the underground church. And I really don't think people realize what they're talking about sometimes, right? I don't think they realize what they're saying. In the United States, we have developed an almost romantic notion that the fellowship of believers will need to be some hidden treasure that people have to seek out and search to find. Now, that bothers me a little bit, okay? And it really doesn't matter. It's regardless of whether you might be Jewish or Christian. If you believe in the God of Abraham, there are people in the United States who are thinking they may need to hide and let people find them. Now, around the world, there are people who need to meet in secret, but they're really not hiding, are they? You see, the romantic notion that the early church was persecuted and had to hide has been used to prevent believers from delivering the message that they were assigned to deliver. Now, I'm mostly speaking of Christians here, right? Because the Jews were not hiding while they were being persecuted. Back, after the turn of the millennia and the first, second, and third centuries, the Jews weren't hiding. They were they were openly doing the things that they had been doing since Moses. And they were being persecuted. And it's kind of interesting that Constantine found a way to finagle the the Gentile believers into dividing themselves from the Jews and then carrying on the persecution. Let's face it, that's what happened. Doesn't mean it's right, it just means it's history. See, the disciples of Jesus, the disciples of Yeshua, were not able to spread their message by hiding in their closets. You can't deliver a message if you are holed up, right? You can't do that. I've talked about a group that I'm familiar with that lives in constant danger because of their location. They have stayed where they are because they are actually converting. They're converting radical ISIS fighters. Now, you can't do that if you're hiding. They don't have the freedom to evangelize like we have in the United States. You know, in the United States, there are groups of people who think that evangelizing means you go in throughout the neighborhood, you knock on a door, and when somebody actually opens a door, you know, it's like, can I tell you about Jesus? They're not doing that. This group of people is simply quietly living their lives in such a way, and we'll get to this a little bit more in a minute, but they're quietly living their lives in such a way that the people who are persecuting them, the people who they are afraid of, are actually joining their ranks. They found a way to influence others by their lifestyle. They deliver their message quietly and deliberately. And I don't use a lot of parables. I've used this one a couple of times. I don't know if it's 2 or 3 times now. But we're going to listen while Myra reads Matthew. And as she's reading, I don't want you to think about what she's reading about as bags of money. I want you to think about what she's reading as the message that you are to deliver to the people around you. This is from Matthew 25, verses 14 through 30.
The kingdom of heaven is like a man who was going to another place for a visit. Before he left, he talked with his servants. The man told them to take care of his things while he was gone. He decided how much each servant would be able to care for. He gave one servant 5 bags of money. He gave another servant 2 bags of money, and he gave a third servant 1 bag of money. Then the man left. The servant who got 5 bags went quickly to invest the money. The 5 bags of money earned 5 more. It was the same with the servant who had 2 bags of money. He invested the money and earned 2 more. But the servant who got 1 bag of money went out and dug a hole in the ground. Then he hid his master's money in the hole. After a long time the master came home. He asked the servants what they did with his money. The servant who had 5 bags of money brought 5 more bags to the master. The servant said, "Master, you trusted me to care for 5 bags of money, so I used your 5 bags to earn 5 more." The master answered, "You did well. You are a good servant who can be trusted. You did well with small things, so I will let you care for much greater things. Come and share my happiness with me." Then the servant who got 2 bags of money came to the master. The servant said, "Master, you gave me 2 bags of money to care for, so I used your 2 bags to earn 2 more." The master answered, "You did well. You are a good servant who can be trusted. You did well with small things, so I will let you care for much greater things. Come and share my happiness with me." Then the servant who got 1 bag of money came to the master. The servant said, "Master, I knew that you were a hard man. You harvest things you did not plant. You gather crops where you did not sow any seed. So I was afraid. I went and hid your money in the ground. Here is the bag of money you gave me." The master answered, "You are a bad and lazy servant. You say you knew that I harvest things I did not plant, and that I gather crops where I did not sow any seed. So you should have put my money in the bank. Then when I came home, I would get my money back with interest. So the master told his servants, take the bag of money from that servant and give it to the servant who has 10 bags of money. Everyone who uses what he has will get more. He will have much more than he needs. But the one who does not use what he has will have everything taken away from him. Then the master said, throw that useless servant outside into the darkness. There people will cry and grind their teeth with pain.
Okay. Do you see where I'm going with this? Every believer has a message to deliver. Each and every person who has accepted the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, believes in him, they are given a message to deliver to other people. It's that simple. The message you are to deliver is your investment in the kingdom. How about that? Your investment is in the kingdom. It is what you say to other people. How are you going to deliver your message if you're hiding in the closet? How are you going to deliver your message if you're hiding in an underground bunker? How are you going to deliver that message if you're sitting in a hole waiting for someone to find you? You're not buried treasure. You may be a special treasure to the Almighty. You're not a buried treasure for others to find. Some believers have romanticized the idea of an underground church where they need to hide in this bunker until the world finds them because they think they need them. They think they're so important that people are just going to come busting down their door to get to them. There's a church right down the street that thinks this way. I have had that conversation with the pastor. Didn't do any good, but I've had that conversation. When a group of people or even an individual, okay, when they begin to do these things, they implode, and sometimes an entire group of people can implode. When that happens, they destroy themselves. Around the world, believers are living in very real danger every day. And still, those people find a way to deliver the message they're given to deliver, and they are, those believer groups, those fellowship groups are growing. Believe it or not, faster than anybody really expects. Individuals are able to make a difference. People in danger sometimes make a bigger difference than the people who have the freedom to go about their business. Jonah was given a message, right? God said, Jonah, I need you to go to Nineveh and deliver this message. Jonah says, oh, no. Ain't no way you can make me do that. God said, want to bet? Right? Jonah delivered his message, and a nation repented. He was given the message to deliver to many, many, many people. Peter delivered a message to a few thousand people. And that message was to reject the radical Pharisee rule of the time and return to being obedient and following the Torah and obeying the commands of the Creator. And thousands that day repented. So here's the question. Who are you going to influence? Are you one of the people who are asked to go out and speak to, large groups? Are you somebody who speaks to small groups? Or do you not want to go speak to one? Think about that. If you're only given one person to reach, just one, and you don't go do that, what if the person you were supposed to reach is another Jonah? What if the person you were supposed to reach turns out to be another Peter? What if the person you were supposed to reaches just one more person who turns out to be, see where I'm going, right? You know what I mean. Don't pretend you don't. Or are you going to be someone who tries to bury it underground? The servant in the parable didn't make out so well. The servant, the other servants who delivered the message, who went out and invested in the kingdom, they were rewarded. Well done, good and faithful servant. The servant who hid the money in the ground, who stayed in their underground bunker, so to speak, they didn't make out very well, did they? Those will be the ones who will. He didn't even put the money in the bank. He didn't even go and sneak into a fellowship somewhere, right? He didn't meet with anybody else. He just kept everything to himself, buried his message down deep. He will be the one that hears, "Depart from me, I never knew you." How many times, 365 times in the Old Testament alone, we're told not to be afraid? Fear not. Fear not. Do you know that even if you only need to deliver your message to one person, that person can be someone who can change the world? That person can be somebody who can deliver their message to hundreds or thousands, or one who can deliver their message to one, who can deliver their message to one, who can deliver their message to hundreds or tens. But that's how the world changes. How fast does the message spread? The message is spreading like wildfire in places where people are not able to freely gather and meet together. They can't worship together freely. And the message is getting out. They're not hiding. They're not, locking themselves in their corners, so to speak, or in their houses, in their closets, in their bunkers, and expecting people to come dig them up. The people who are going to come dig you up are not there to hear your message. They're there to harm you. They're there to kill you. Every person around the world has the ability to display care, to display compassion, and to display the love for the people around them. And that is influential. That is so influential, it is converting radical ISIS fighters in very dangerous places. If that's the only outlet you have to deliver your message, you're going to be blessed for doing that. For believers in free nations who hide or fail to show up or fail to display the love they have, the love they're called to give, the love they're called to share, you will hear the words, "Depart from me, I never knew you." You need to get out of the bunker. Not everybody can be like John the Baptist, right? Not everybody has the ability to call the snakes, and the whatever else he called the Pharisees to make them mad enough to eventually, he said, "Look, you especially are living a way you shouldn't live, and if you don't repent, God's going to get you for that." I believe it was Herod's niece who ordered John the Baptist's head on a platter, right? But John was not afraid to deliver the message. We don't need to be afraid to deliver the message. Not everybody has the equipment to do what we do and reach. I think the last time I looked, somewhere around 1,000 people a week. Not everybody has the ability to do like Billy Graham used to do and fill up stadiums full of people. But everybody, no matter where you are, no matter what situation you're in, has the ability to live and display the care, the compassion, and the love for each other. And that you can do. You don't need to go knock on doors. You don't need to hide in the closet. You can't do it if you hide in the closet. You can't not deliver your message and expect the reward you want. You must, you can't get out of this. There's no backing out of it. You must participate. You have to invest in the kingdom. That's what investing for life actually means. Are you doing it? Are you there? You should be. Did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
Thanks for letting me join everybody tonight.
You're welcome. Until Monday, when I will be semi-supervised because you're going to be listening from work.
Yes.
We want to thank everyone for joining us, and many, many blessings, everyone.